When something goes wrong, many leaders reach for the same explanation. Someone should have used more common sense. Pay closer attention. Be more careful. Think before acting. But this instinct often leads leaders in the wrong direction. Because when managers tell workers to use common sense, attention shifts to the person closest to the mistake instead of the system that produced it. Recognizing that difference is one of the most important shifts a leader can make. When something goes wrong in an organization, the reaction often feels obvious. A mistake appears. A customer complains. A deadline is missed. Someone pulls the employee aside and says, "Be more careful. Use better judgment." The assumption is simple. The problem happened because someone failed to apply enough attention or common sense. But W. Edwards Deming argued that this reaction often misunderstands how organizations actually work. Most recurring problems are not created by a single person in a single moment. They are produced by the way work is designed, the methods, priorities, handoffs, and pressures built into the system. When leaders respond only with reminders to use common sense, they try to correct people instead of improving the process that produced the outcome. A short story makes this easier to see. Maria owns a small home services company that schedules technicians for repairs and installations across the city. Over the past few months, customer complaints have begun to rise. Appointments are missed. Technicians sometimes arrive without the right parts, and occasionally, a customer waits all day for a visit that never appears on the schedule. One afternoon, a frustrated customer calls after waiting 5 hours for a technician who never arrived. Maria listens to the call recording and quickly finds the problem. A dispatcher scheduled the job in the wrong time slot. Later that day, Maria raises the issue with her operations supervisor.
This one should have been obvious. People just need to slow down and use some common sense when they're entering these jobs.
So it looked like a simple mistake.
Yes, the appointment just landed in the wrong time window.
All right, we'll remind everyone to double-check the schedule.
For a few days, things seem better. But 2 weeks later, another complaint appears. Then another. During a weekly operations meeting, David brings something to Maria's attention.
I've been going through the scheduling logs. The same type of errors show up across different dispatchers.
Across different people?
Yes, different shifts, too. It doesn't look like one person slipping up.
Maria pauses. The team reviews several weeks of scheduling records. Jobs are coming in from everywhere. Phone calls, website forms, and technician callbacks. The intake information varies widely. Dispatchers often have to guess which technician should handle the job. At the same time, they're expected to keep phone wait times under 2 minutes while entering appointments quickly.
So they're answering the phones fast and trying to figure out the job at the same time.
Exactly. When the phones get busy, the scheduling step gets rushed.
The mistakes aren't random. They appear when call volume rises, and dispatchers rush to keep up. Deming warned about exactly this kind of reaction. Common sense mistakenly tells us to speak to the operator about it when a customer reports something wrong with a product or with a service. We have spoken to the operator about it. It won't happen again. Maria begins to see the pattern. Her earlier response corrected a person, but the system itself was creating pressure for mistakes.
So the issue isn't attention.
No, the system is forcing them to guess.
The team decides to redesign the scheduling process. They standardize the intake questions so every request captures the same information. They create a simple guide showing which technician handles each type of job. And they adjust the phone metrics so dispatchers are not forced to rush through scheduling decisions. Over the next several weeks, scheduling problems begin to fall. Not because people suddenly gained more common sense, but because the system no longer required guesswork. As Deming wrote, "Action taken today may only produce more mistakes tomorrow. It may be important to work on the process that produced the fault, not on him that delivered it. Many leadership habits are built on the assumption that problems come from individual lapses. When something goes wrong, the natural reaction is to remind people to pay attention, try harder, or use better judgment. But Deming's work suggests a different starting point. When the same problem appears more than once, it is rarely coincidence. It is usually a signal that the system guiding the work is unclear, incomplete, or under pressure. Instead of asking, "Who made the mistake?" a leader can begin with a different question. What in the system made this outcome possible, or even likely? Look for places where employees must guess what to do. Look for moments where priorities conflict. Look for conditions where speed pressures push people to bypass careful work. In those conditions, telling people to use more common sense accomplishes very little. People generally respond rationally to the system they are working within. When leaders improve the design of the work, clarifying expectations, simplifying decisions, and removing unnecessary pressure, performance often improves naturally. Not because people changed, but because the system guiding their work did. Every organization depends on the judgment and effort of the people doing the work. And most people want to do good work, but people can only succeed inside the system they are given. When leaders step back and improve that system, something powerful begins to happen. Problems begin to fade, work becomes smoother, and people can finally do the kind of work they always wanted to do. Because when the system improves, everyone has a better chance to do their best work. And that is where lasting improvement truly begins.